Ladies and gentlemen, today we're bringing you a special treat. This is my mother-in-law's recipe for Bolognese. It's your traditional Italian Bolognese. It's wonderful, packed with flavor, lots of herbs and spices. You'll be surprised how easy it is, but it packs a lot of flavor. So the bald Chef of Bergamo is going to bring you his mother-in-law's recipe with a little help from his beautiful, wonderful wife and lovely long-haired lady, daughter Celeste. So how do we start off this recipe? We throw probably a cup of finely diced onions. I got a little more than a cup because I'm going to put a little extra meat into this Bolognese. But anyway, we're going to do 3 tablespoons of butter, cup of onions, and 5 cloves of garlic, and a kilo, 2.2 pounds of ground beef. Now, we've got a little bit of ground pork as well, a little bit of ground veal, but the majority is ground beef. You can mix and match, you can put sausage in here as you want, but you know, you don't really need to put a bunch of different types of meat. Ground beef is fine because you're going to add the spices. But we had a good discount sale on this mixed ground beef, pork, and veal, so that's what we're going to use today. So let me saute this down. Once we get this sauteed a bit, then we'll throw the meat in and brown that. Check back in a bit. So, been about 5 minutes of sauteing the onions. I've got the ground meat in here. I'm going to brown that. I'm going to use this nice little piece of equipment here to kind of break up this into chunks and let this brown. A few minutes of this to get mixed up, and then we're going to do some slow cook over some time. But let me get this mixed up and browned initially, and then we'll figure out what the next step is. Check back in a bit. So as you can see, the meat has been browned, been mixed up. I'm going to elevate the temperature a little bit. And I'm going to add about a cup and a quarter of white wine. And I'm just going to add a lot of flavor, and I want to increase the temperature and leave the lid off this and let some of the alcohol evaporate, but you still want the flavor from the wine. So let's increase the temperature and let the alcohol boil off and impart a little flavor into this meat as we continue to develop flavor after flavor after flavor. Again, we're building flavors as we go throughout this dish. So I'll let this happen, let this little bubble off a little bit of the alcohol, and then we'll add some spices and tomato sauce, etc. at that point. Let's let this go for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes of boiling off the alcohol. Check back in a bit. So this has been going for about 5 to 7 minutes. You can see it's bubbling up nicely. And we give it a nice little smell. Obviously you can't, but the wine smell is kind of evaporated. There's still some wine flavor in there, but a lot of that alcohol is evaporated. And so now we're going to add some sauce. And this is going to be one of these, how thick do you want it? So we're going to start with a couple cans of sauce, see how that incorporates, and decide if we need to add another can or not. Let's start with the 2, and we'll go from there. So I've added about 60 ounces of tomato sauce. So you can pick your poisonous type of sauce you buy and the size of the cans. And then I added about another 15 to 20 ounces of water just to rinse out all the cans. And then I'm going to let this cook for quite some time. And it's going to reduce the level of the sauce, concentrate it, and then we will add the spices after a bit. But this is going to go for about an hour or so. So this is one of those things that you turn on the football game, do something with the kids, stir it every now and again, but let it do its thing. Check back in a bit. So again, this is just giving us a little bubbling going on, and we're going to throw 3 pinches of salt and dado, a little consomme. I have my lovely assistant, my wife, adding that right now. Just kind of break it up, spread it around in little chunks. And you don't have to worry about it getting too finely broken up because it'll dissolve in the pasta sauce. And again, my lovely assistant's going to make that kind of spin it around there. Excellent, well done. Bravo, Stefania. Bravo, bravo. All right, again, let this go for about an hour. See what it looks like. Have it reduce. We'll check. Okay, so it's going for about an hour. I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit. It's on low to medium. We're going to make it down to low. And I've added a few leaves of fresh basil and a few leaves of sage. And we'll just mix them in. And then once this is done, you can leave them in and serve them, or you can pull them out. And then I'm going to cook this for another hour, and then I'll add the rest of the spices. We'll put some fennel, rosemary, and some more basil. Plenty of oregano, of course. And we'll put some more sage and basil in at the end. And maybe we want to throw some pepper in, but we'll do that to taste at the end. Let me get these fresh herbs in, and then we'll add the rest of the dry herbs a little later. So we're done. We've added all the second dosage of the spices, and what we've done is about 5 or 6 basil leaves, a couple sage leaves, like 2 tablespoons of oregano, a full tablespoon of fennel, probably half a tablespoon of rosemary, and then maybe a half tablespoon to a tablespoon of cracked black pepper. And then you taste it. And you can add some crushed red pepper depending on the spices that you want. Now what we've done, now that this is complete, you can see on the side there is a little bit of fat that's kind of come off when we brown the meat. So you can take a little spoon. Thank you, my lovely assistant, my lovely wife. You can take a little spoon and kind of take some of that fat off. You want a little bit of fat in there for the flavor, but you don't need all of it. So it's an opportunity for you to be healthy. So here you go, Bolognese alla Bergamasca. From the Bald Chef of Bergamo. Good eats, hot treats. Bald Chef of Bergamo. So let's plate it with some pasta. Let me show you this as the final picture here. This is some beautiful Bolognese. A little Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. This is what we talk about for Bald Chef of Bergamo. Bringing you Bolognese Bergamasca. Good eats, hot treats. Bald Chef of Bergamo. What do you think, Celeste? Is it good?
Yes.
Buon appetito.
Bon appetit.